Welcome to the second video in our new channel, Greek Geek Weekly. And if you're paying close attention, which there are dozens of you following, so I know you are, then you'll notice that this is week 3, and we've only got 2 videos. And so I've already broken my promise, you might say, to do Greek Geek Weekly. And I named the channel. So I owe you, my loyal watchers, an explanation, I believe. This channel is clearly about Greek, and I'm clearly a geek. So 2 out of 3 of my descriptors are accurate, and a 66% accuracy rating on YouTube, I think, is pretty darn good. So I've got that going for me. Second, if you're thinking maybe he spent the time to prepare the passage that he was going to talk about today, the answer to that question is absolutely not. I committed to not preparing before these videos. In fact, that is the conceit of the channel, is we are reading Greek together on the fly using the knowledge that we have available to us and exploring the process of learning about what we don't know. I think that is a very big part of actually reading Greek and staying with it and exegeting the New Testament is you come to it with certain presuppositions, certain facts that you know, but you have to use the intervening time to get to the knowledge that you don't have. How do you do that? And this channel is about that process. Rather than giving you a finished meal, rather than going to a restaurant, this channel is watching a cooking show. And it's watching one of those cooking shows where they don't hide the mistakes from you.
Well, that didn't go very well. See, when I flipped it, I didn't have the courage to do it the way I should have. But you can always pick it up, and if you're alone in the kitchen, who is going to see?
I'm not going to edit out all of my errors and all of that kind of stuff. We're going to read it together and figure out what we don't know, correct things as we go along, so that we're better able to appreciate the process of learning Greek and not just the finished product that you might have in a sermon or a commentary. And third justification for being a little late is hopefully you'll notice that our video quality has improved a bit, our audio quality has improved a bit, and our sweet, sweet graphics and animations will also have improved. And by sweet, sweet graphics, I mean me writing on the tablet in front of me. So a little bit, hopefully, of a smoother presentation, upping the production values of this channel. I mean, if we're not going to read Greek in 1080p, then what's even the point? With that said, let's jump right into 1 Peter. We're reading 1 Peter together. I've got our notes from last week right here in front of us so that we can keep going and keep moving forward. We are, I'm sad to say, out of the easier part of 1 Peter, and we're into the more complex material. Peter, very literary, very rhetorical, very artistic at times, and that makes for challenges as for us as readers. 3, and we'll see how far we get here as we work through the text. We will likely have at least 1 or 2 English sentences on our hands, but we probably won't make it through the whole Greek sentence. I mean, I'm noticing that our editors here have decided not to end our sentence until verse 6, and I doubt we'll be able to make it all the way to verse 6 in this particular video. So we might have to start somewhere in the middle, but what is reading Greek if not cliffhangers? Eulogatetas ha theos ka pater tu kuriou hemon Iesu Christou. Blessed is, or praise be, the God and Father of our Lord, of the Lord, which is our Lord, Iesu Christou. So a bunch of genitives there strewn together, these all descriptive of one another. Blessed is God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who, or at least that's what I'm thinking at this point. I've got this article here, and I'm immediately wanting to think that this is going to further describe theos. I haven't gotten a verb. I haven't gotten another option. So it's very likely that this article is describing theos, and then I get, instead of another noun, a sort of predicative situation, I get kata tu palu autu eleas anagenesas. And one of the things, this can trip us up. This is a cool thing I can do in Greek. I can take an article and then I can separate it from the noun it governs, and anything in between the article and the noun it governs is adjectival. It goes and further describes that noun. So hakata, the according to which something, and I'm looking for the something. I'm looking for the noun that ha governs. And so I'm going to start searching in my clause. Ta palu doesn't, is neuter. Eleos, Eleos is tricky because it looks it looks like this is it. The mercy, his great mercy. But one, it wouldn't be appositional with ha theos in that case. So my, just reading along instinct is it doesn't fit. But also eleos, you would know this if you're a native Greek speaker. Eleos, but you're not, right? Neither am I. Eleos is neuter, so it doesn't match our definite article there. So it's anagenesis. It's this word that is our subject matter, which is a super interesting word. Begotten again is how it's often translated. And you might be thinking, "Oh, I know that. That's born again." And you're not wrong, but let's look it up. Let's not trust ana genao. Let's not trust our etymological or root meaning. That's not a great way. That's a good way to guess. It's not a great way to know. So let's look it up in BDAG. Ana genao, beget again, cause to be born again, figurative of the spiritual rebirth of Christians through the work of God. And what's interesting here, what you may notice, well, actually, what's interesting here is what's not here. You do not have, for example, as we kind of scroll through our entry, what we do not find is John mentioned. And indeed, Peter uses this word twice. John doesn't use it at all. John uses a very different word in John 3 to make this point. Same concept, but nevertheless a different word, which is interesting in its own right. So we are blessed be God and Father our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who beget us again, and eis elpida zosen, dia Anastasios Iesu Christu ek nekron. And again, I'm seeing this series of prepositional phrases. So we had it up here. We had kata in, and ace up here, modifying eclectois. Here we have the one who gave us new birth. He gave us new birth, ace, d, and down here, ace um, as well. So he gave us new birth. Ace here, I think, is a purpose clause for or so that. We might have an LP, zosen, hope, a living hope, dia Anastasios Iesu Christu ek nekron, through, by means of, Anastasios nekron, by the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. And this is really interesting. It's not by resurrection of the dead. It's by Jesus's resurrection from the dead. So he very much constructs the hope that we have around Christ's own resurrection, and maybe that is why it's a living hope. It's a Zosan hope because Christ is risen. Christ is living, and so the hope that we have isn't some future hope. It's in a present hope, a present idea of Christ's own resurrection. His resurrection is our hope. We will be raised with him and in him. We might be importing Paul there. We'll have to keep reading First Peter to kind of figure that out. But at least an interesting idea that the hope is living because Christ is alive. And this living hope by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, it's also a hope. We've been born again for kleronomion, for an inheritance. And this is going to be key. I mean, this for an inheritance is going to be a key idea in Peter's letter. We're going to see it over and over and over again. He's going to be very consistent. We got to go back to this anaganases. We got to box it in. Even if we can't read the rest of this, we got to box it in because it's going to be a very key concept. The status that we have, a relationship with others, is going to be determined by the fact that we are born to a new father, born again through this work of resurrection. And one of the things that happens in conjunction with this new birth is that we receive a new inheritance, a new kleronomion, a kleronomia appropriate to that which we have with our new father. What's that? you might ask. Well, Peter goes on to tell us this inheritance, unlike the other inheritance, unlike our old inheritance, this inheritance is aphtharton, amianton, and kai amaranton. You can see the alliteration there. It'll be tough to capture that, I think, in English, but let's try. I don't have these words memorized, so we're going to have to look. We're going to have to use the magic of looking it up. So first, then, aphtharton. Beda gives us this definition: imperviousness to corruption and death, imperishable, incorruptible. A bunch of parallel citations in Greek literature. Uh, yeah, lots of interesting information there. First Peter, Romans. That'd be interesting to look up. Romans 1:23. What do we have? Exchange immortal God for images resembling. So immortality, incapable of mortality. There. So in eternal might be a good way of capturing that. Not degradable. Kai Hamayantan, that one I think is pertaining to kind of like holiness idea. But again, let's take a look. Oh, we're in Romans 1:23. We come now to the last word on our lookup list, and that's amaranton. Sorry, for the little break there, we had a bit of a video snafu, but we can look that one up, and we get another fairly short entry here. Amarantos, neuter, unfading flowers in the Apocalypse of Peter, and then First Peter 1, our passage used to talk about eternal bliss, figuratively. So it's hard to know exactly what to do with that. But if we go with like the not losing pristine quality or character, I'm kind of thinking we're in the level of like metal rusting, flowers wilting, that kind of thing. Unfading isn't the gloss that immediately comes to mind, but I don't have a better one on the tip of my tongue. Unwilting not being a common word, but this is the perfect opportunity to crowdsource this kind of thing. So if you have an option, if you have, maybe you're a poet and you have a good word for us and can get all these words to kind of have that alliterative character to them, that would be wonderful and much appreciated. I think those are the kind of fun puzzles that we can have as we're thinking about a translation. So unfading perhaps is our best option there. Coming then back to the text, we have a participle. So this inheritance, we're just describing it. It's imperishable, it's undefiled, it's unfading, and then finally it is tetere menane. Participle there, standard tereo, verb, perfect, having been kept, or it is kept. It's one of those stative perfects. It's kept, guarded, perhaps. You can use this for like keeping a commandment. You can use this word for like guarding a repository. I don't know. When we're talking about a kleronamion, an inheritance, I'm thinking guarded. It's kept, it's guarded, it's under lock and key. It's buried out in a field. If we're going to talk about parables, it's kept in heaven for you. So not only is the inheritance itself uncorruptible, imperishable, perfect in every way, fit for eternity, it's also guarded. It's under protection until you should come into the fullness of your inheritance. And then, we're out of time, but as a kind of cliffhanger, tous in dunamai theou. So we've got our clause is actually continuing on, and we're going to further describe then ace hemas and put that in apposition. Who are we? We are tous, we are those, and we'll see what happens with that next week. So in sum, I do want to kind of like back up, provide a translation in whole. God is praised or praiseworthy. Blessed be God, the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who beget us again by his great mercy, or in accordance with his great mercy, for a living hope through Jesus Christ's resurrection from the dead. May we just make it very clear that this is Jesus Christ's resurrection from the dead for an inheritance that is imperishable, undefilable, unfading, untarnishable, kept in heaven for you. And with that, we'll close out this week and open it up to verse 5 in the week to come.